everybody, and welcome to a brand new Gentech PC product showcase. Welcome to another full-length feature review. Today we're going to be doing the Asus G752VS. So while we do have a full-length review today with lots of detail, as they say, first things first. So we'll start things off with our unboxing. As you can see, we've got the box open. We're just pulling out our power cable and power adapter on the right hand side. As for the details on the power adapter, if we pull it up and you look at the specs, you can get about 230 watts out of this guy. Now moving into the center section, which is going to contain the laptop, we'll just pull that right up off the top here. And we've got a protective sleeve on the outside of it, and it's somewhat padded in by crushable cardboard inside of the box. As you can see, first impressions, we kind of got a gray and orange color scheme. And now digging up the rest of the box, we have the center console section here. And in there we've got some Velcro for cable management and some warranty information. You'll see that there are no driver's discs. It's kind of expected on this model that we're going to go online and get that from the manufacturer's page. So with the unboxing out of the way and we're moving into the system tour, the first place we'll start on that journey is going to be the BIOS. So we'll start here. You can see some of the key hardware information. We have 32 gigabytes of system RAM right now, so that's a pretty intense amount of RAM. Looking through some of our other options here, we do have the Intel Rapid Storage technology. We have the virtualization technology, so you can run virtual machines on this CPU. You can see we have PCI Express interfaces for SSDs. Overall, it's a pretty standard BIOS. Unlike most desktops where you do a lot of the overclocking and tweaking in the BIOS, on the laptops it's actually going to be inside of the operating system on some software that we'll show you later, where you can do a lot of the tweaking, including overclocking the unlocked CPU on this model. So without much more to see, we'll go ahead and just sweep through the rest of the BIOS just to make sure you can see the pages, and then we'll start moving into some more of the system analysis. So with the Asus G752 being a 17-inch gaming laptop, you do expect it to be somewhat big and somewhat heavy, but you still want to know what you're looking at. So here is the weight of just the laptop at 9 pounds and 14 ounces. And then if you're adding in the power adapter, you've got an additional 2 pounds and not quite the last ounce. So 2 pounds, 1 ounce rounding up. So with that, if we generously round up, we're almost about 12 pounds full carry weight. Now as far as the size, we've got a tape measure and some coins for scale. You can see that with the wedge type shape, we're under 2 inches on the back side as far as the total height. And then closer to under 1.5 on the front height. Okay, as we move on to the next step of our review, we're going to power things on and we're going to get into our benchmarks in a little bit as well. But while we're powering it up, let's see how long it takes with our boot time test here. We've got those M2 SSDs on the PCI Express interface, and it looks like just shy of 14 seconds for our full cold boot. Alright, now it's time for the tour, so let's take a walk together, shall we? Now we've got the gorgeous 17.3 inch screen that is a 1920 by 1080p IPS panel, integrated HD webcam up above. We have the cool color scheme down here. We've got some gray and black and orange with the red LED backlit keys. This is not multicolor changeable. You can of course dim it and brighten it, but it is the one color, it's red. We have our macro keys up above here that we can program in software. And let's go take a look at the software that controls some of these features. So with the macro keys, you can see that we can have it do anything from launching applications to, of course, customizing our own key combinations in there. On the bottom left side, we have some badges: Core, i7, NVIDIA GeForce, and the Energy Star certified. You'll see that we have the oversized touchpad in the center with the independent left and right click buttons. And it's really nice to see the black inner cutout, how that is not just shaped completely square like the rest of the laptops. It's actually got some shape to it. Just adds a little bit of extra character to this laptop. Alright, so now that we've got the top part covered, let's move around the edges and cover all of our interfaces. We'll swing over to the right hand side. So lots of connectivity over here. Starting off with three 3.5mm audio connections for headphones, line in and line out. Then we have the USB 3.1 Type-C, two USB 2.0 ports, mini display port, HDMI, RJ45, and our power adapter. Onto the rear side, we just have some really cool lighting and designs over here. No connectivity. So of course this is going to look brilliant in the dark. Also, this is going to be the main place that all the heat is going to be coming out of the system. Now, it's just being the reviewer, we can't tell you this looks great or it looks bad. That's of course up to you. Everyone has their own taste. But I'll definitely say it looks the part of a high-end gaming laptop. So with the rear side out of the way, we'll move on to the final side. We've got our Kingston lock port, two more USB ports, our optical drive, and then of course an SD card reader. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much finishes up the outside tour of the laptop. So we've covered everything from the screen to the keyboard on the inside to all the interfaces along the perimeter. And we're just doing one last spin around so you can get a good look at it from every angle. And then we're going to be moving into our system for the specs and benchmarks. So inside specs, we'll start off with our device manager, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 with 8GB of video card RAM. And then we've got the Core i7 CPU. This is a 6820 HK. It is unlocked and it can be overclocked inside of the system. For those seeking a little bit more detail on the screen here, we've got the panel ID. It is a 75 Hz refresh rate. It's an LG panel. It is only the 1080p resolution, but it's a nice, very high quality matte screen with an IPS panel, so it's very great color production. It would be suitable for somebody who wants to do video editing or photo editing. Also for the screen, don't forget the NVIDIA G-Sync is also an option you can enable. So some of the basic benchmarks, we've got the Crystal Disk Mark score here for the C drive. You can see we've got some really great speeds there for the SSD. And now we're moving into some of the feature-packed software that the Asus Republic of Gamers offers up for you. Out the gate, you can just see it looks really, really awesome. It gives you our current temperature, CPU speed, RAM speed. You can go in here and look at the profiles. We have preset profiles as far as performance, so you can just, with a flick of a mouse click, change it from a higher performance mode to a standard mode. But of course, you can get in there and tweak it and customize it and make it exactly where you want it to go. So now moving right along with our next benchmark, we're going to move into our sound test. So we're setting sound as in the idle noise right now. So this is a quiet room with a quiet laptop. We're just seeing how loud it can get. And of course we're going to move over to the rear exhaust and test there as well. And then we'll kick it up a notch and put the system under load. Now what we're doing here is we're just seeing the ambient noise levels. If you really want to know how this compares to other laptops, just check out a couple of our other reviews and you can compare one similar laptop to another and see if there is a major difference. Now that we're running our gaming benchmark, we'll go ahead and take advantage of that and redo those readings again. And you can see how they've definitely gone up now that the system is under load and it's having to work harder to cool itself. The left and right sides have different cooling fans, one for the CPU and one for the GPU, so that's why it is often the case to see they are different. Alright, now it's time for the big moment that a lot of you are waiting for, the 3D Mark score. So performance score on 3D Mark 11 was 16,398. Very respectable score. Here's the GPU Z information on the GTX 1070. Again, that massive 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 video card RAM. As far as temperatures go, we got the CPU up to about 88 degrees Celsius max. And how did the video card do? We've got the NVIDIA GTX 1070 at 69 degrees Celsius max. So the video card stayed very cool in that test. The CPU ran hotter, but not to the point where it would be out of control. So now with 3D Mark 11 out of the way, let's move into Firestrike. We've got our score here, 13,838, so again, a really great performance score. Firestrike gives you lots of graphing information, which is really cool to look at. And we're just going to double check our GPU Z information and of course our temperatures. Now as you can see, our temperatures stayed exactly the same, 88 degrees Celsius max on the CPU, and our GPU stayed at 69 degrees Celsius max. So good temperatures. This is an overclockable system, and of course when you overclock your CPU, you will get more heat out of it. Alright, now it's time for the system to do the talking. We'll move into the speaker levels.
It's moving quick. Keep your eyes open. Chopper, do you have a visual? Over.
Okay everybody, we hope you're still enjoying the show. We're moving into our final parts of the review, which is of course the disassembly. Now on the bottom of the Asus G752 is an easy to access single screw door. Just lift up that rubberized flap, take that screw out, and you're ready to get inside of this system. So the Asus G752 is nice and easy to access. It is made for user accessibility. We have access to three major components here, starting with the system RAM slots. Yes, we have 32 gigabytes of system RAM, and yes, you can add even more than that. On the bottom left, we have our 2.5-inch mass storage mechanical drive, and then to the right, we have the M2 SSDs. So luckily, it's 8 identical screws to remove if you want to get to either of those two storage devices. Just a slide and a lift will take up the mechanical drive. You could, of course, replace this with an SSD if you would like to, but you also have the M2 SSDs just next to it. So we'll just lift up this little plate here, and we see that we have two M2 form factor PCI Express SSDs, one occupied, leaving us room to upgrade for one more. Now I'm sure there's at least a few of you wondering, what is left under all that plastic? Can you take this system apart even more than that? Well, the answer is yes, but look at what it takes. There are many different screws of many different sizes to actually remove to get to the system deeper than that. It is very much not recommended you try to take apart your system to this level, as it would void the warranty. And what we're going to show you here, just so the curiosity doesn't kill the cat, there's really not much to get to. So we have our two occupied system RAM slots here. Those are 16 gigabytes SODIMM, so that's 32 gigabytes of system RAM in total. We have our cooling fans on the top left and right side. Pretty cool little brushless motors, so that makes them run nice and quiet. And that's it. Other than that, there's nothing else to get to on this side. Just a glance at all the connections. We see that we have many different ribbon cables that go from the keyboard side down to the motherboard. We did also remove our optical drive while we were disassembling the system. And on the other side of the lid, we have the hinge assembly. So despite the fact that this is a very advanced teardown, we did want to make sure we show it to you in the review and just let you know what to expect. Now, unfortunately, with the disassembly of the system also comes to the end of our review, and we know it's a sad time and we hate to see you go, but we do hope you enjoyed the full video review of the Asus G752VS. If you guys have any additional questions about this laptop, then visit our website gentechpc.com and go to the product page for this laptop, and there you can find the full system specifications and the current pricing and availability. If you find that you have a question and we didn't answer in the video, but it's a good common question you'd like to ask, post it in the comment section and share it with everybody, and we can answer it for you and everybody else. If you have any other one-on-one questions that you need some support or help with, then feel free to contact us by phone or email, and we'll be happy to help you out. Other than that, we just want to remind everybody this was Gentech PC, and we'll see you next time.